who we think we are and who we actually are two different things. We have what's called cognitive dissonance. Human design is all about deconditioning. So it's letting go of who we think we need to be and in fact coming back to our authentic blueprint, our soul, our heart, our higher self, whatever you want to call it.
That's what I love about human design. It kind of gives us permission to be ourselves, uniquely ourselves. And the more that we learn about our design, the more that we're like, oh my gosh, see, I was meant to do that. Whereas we're so caught up in what society says, they don't work for everybody.
Ultimately, human design is four ancient wisdoms and they're mathematically mapped together. So it is complicated. There's a lot to it, but it's simple to use. We've been told that thinking about ourselves or putting ourselves first is wrong. When we're in alignment with our design, it is just a permission slip. I've looked at and read thousands of charts now, and I don't hear people say, oh, that's a surprise. I hear people saying, whoa, thank you. You just gave me permission to be me.
Welcome everyone to the Reconnect Self podcast, the show that helps you ultimately rediscover what brings you joy. My name is Scott. I am your host. I'm also a filmmaker, and I am here as always with my wife Tracy, who is a counsellor with 20 years experience, 15 years of those in private practice. Recently, now officially a qualified breathwork instructor and a certified psychedelic assisted therapist. How are you, babe?
I'm very well. I'm very excited.
I know you are. This is a big moment. I was actually thinking this is your most anticipated guest.
Yes.
So far. So everyone knows who it is. They've seen the title of the show. They've seen the thumbnail. But let's do a nice little intro. And before we do, I just wanted to take people back a few years. And we were sitting in Bali and we were watching the sunset, having a drink. And you were very excited to share something with me, as you'd have a tendency to do, something that you'd been learning about. And it was this thing called human design. So we put in where I was born, what time of the day it was, and a few other details, and then you hit play. And this person started describing me so accurately, it was mind-blowing. And I remember just sitting there thinking, how is this even possible? Because I'm a bit of a skeptic for these sorts of things. And then you did some family members, and every single one was spot on. And I was converted. So that was my first real introduction to human design and unknowingly to the work of today's guest. Emma Dunwoody is someone who didn't just learn human design, she went all in on the experiment of actually living it. And because of that decision, she's gone on to build one of the leading human design podcasts in the world with millions of downloads. So we're very grateful she's come on our show. Authored a book on the topic and created a global body of work that helps people live with more alignment, authenticity, and self-trust. And what also really resonates with us, and I think will resonate with our listeners, is that Emma's work isn't about pushing harder or forcing outcomes or sacrificing yourself in the name of success. It's about learning how to follow your own energy and letting life unfold from there. Big fangirl moment for Tracy. Emma, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Can't wait to talk all things human design. But I do need to know, what are you guys? You need to tell me your design.
I'm a generator and Scott's a manifesting generator.
Yeah, nice one. Me too.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Do you know your profiles? The two numbers? So I'm a 3-5. 4-6?
I don't know mine, actually.
I'd have to look it up again.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. But I just love it because I love to talk to, because I'll use your design as examples as we go through. So the more I know, the better.
Yes.
So good.
Well, let's jump it. For those who don't know anything about this topic, how would you describe it? What is it?
So I like to talk about it through, the frame of my own experience. So before human design, I'm already like a master coach, a behavioral coach, performance, leadership, all of those sort of things. And I used a lot of profiling tools, specifically eDisc, Myers-Briggs. And if you think about these behavioral and personality profiling tools, maybe Enneagram, it's really popular right now. Think about all of these. It's really similar, but there's a very important, significant difference. So whenever we get a behavioral or personality test, we use our mind because we have to answer questions. So if you have a really good facilitator, like me, let's say, I'm going to get your subconscious mind where it needs to be to get the most accurate results. Most people are out there just, Googling it and then filling in the question and answers, right? No matter how you get it done, you're doing it through the mind. So you're doing it through the frame of who you think you are. But the truth is, who we think we are and who we actually are two different things. So we have what's called cognitive dissonance. What human design is effectively the energetic blueprint that sits beneath our personality and behavior and influences it. So this is actually, we will have certain behaviors, we will do certain personality traits, but it's actually the energetics of our DNA, of our cells, that's influencing that. And that's our human design. And we get our human design through our accurate time of birth, our birth date, and where we were born in the world. And if, like me, I was also very skeptical, I, was always a bit like, and I have this real aversion to people telling me who I am. And the truth is that the reason why we take this reading, and it's the same for astrology, is that at our time of birth, we have these tiny little subatomic particles called neutrinos that as they pass through our body and they pass through all matter, they actually imprint us. They leave a little bit of the celestial bodies in us. And all these themes, then we go on to call them things like the gates or the channels or your centers. But ultimately, these neutrinos imprint you. Now, for those of you that still might feel a little bit skeptical, you can Google neutrinos and you will discover that there is a $100 million facility in Japan studying these things.
Wow.
And the reason why is because they are fundamental to our universe, to how we actually survive in the universe, how we evolve and grow. So if you are skeptical, there is so much science that backs up why we do what we do and how we get the results with human design. So, the invitation is just to experiment. If it works, great. If it doesn't, put it down.
Yeah.
Would it be useful now because obviously right at the beginning we said, like, I'm a manifesting generator, same as you, Tracy's a generator. Just to give context, like, what do those mean and how many are there? And like, so people can start to get their head around, what are we talking about?
Yeah. So we actually have more than 2 billion expressions of the human design chart. So the original, creator is not really the right word, but the guy who brought human design to the world, he really talked about it's the science of differentiation. Okay. So we have more than 2 billion expressions. So when I talk about things like type, and I'm going to talk about, let's say, authority and potentially profile, these are all the macros of our chart. They're the big jumping off points. And to be honest, probably most of the global population wouldn't want to know any deeper because it's super complicated. Ultimately, human design is 4 ancient wisdoms, so Western astrology, the Hindu chakra system, the Kabbalah tree of life, and the Chinese I Ching, and they're mathematically mapped together. Oh, wow. So it is complicated. There's a lot to it, but it's simple to use. I mean, I even wrote the book, Human Design Made Simple, because although it's complicated, there are really simple ways that we can work with it. So if we start with type, there's 4 types and 1 hybrid. So we start with manifestors. Manifestors are about 10% of the global population. They're our initiators. So they're the people who are starting the fire. I always think about Ra Uru Hu, who is the guy who brought human design to the world, manifestor. So he starts the fire, he starts the movement, he starts the inspiration, but then it's carried on by other people. Then we have generators. So like you, a generator is all about being lit up. So being like passionate, excited. I'm a manifesting generator. So we're the hybrid. The way I speak, everything about me, I'm like, oh, this is so good and I love this. And that is a generator or a manifesting generator being lit up. Yes. And when they're lit up, they literally build the new paradigm. Okay. So our manifestors initiate, our generators and our manifesting generators, they build it. They're from their passion, from the things that light them up, the things that they specifically have energy for. Then we have the manifesting generator, which is the hybrid of the two. Now, the manifesting generator is non-linear. And this is the thing that set me free in the beginning. They are people who They will do so many different things, often think they're quitters, but they're not, because they're
Yes, I've
actually
heard
here to
this.
effectively hack life.
Well,
Yeah.
They
this
move
is the thing that
fast.
really resonated with me because I've changed career a number of times. Like I
That's what they
mentioned,
do.
I'm a filmmaker. Like I thought it was a midlife crisis at 40 sort of thing, and just randomly, having never picked up a camera in my life, became a filmmaker. And
Yeah.
you do sort of question yourself and think, am I a quitter because I keep changing what I'm doing?
No.
So it's quite validating to hear that. And that's one of the things I wanted for people to, when you jump into this thing, it starts to help you make sense of why you do certain
It almost
things.
validates it. It kind of makes you feel like, oh, I wasn't a failure that I quit that. I only needed that little bit of information to then take that and run with it. And so I think that's what I
Exactly.
love about human design. It kind of gives us permission to be ourselves, uniquely ourselves. And the more that we learn about our design, the more that we're like, oh my gosh, see, I was meant to do that. Or that was my instinct and that was, the right path for me. Whereas we're so caught up in what society says and what expectations are passed down and, they don't work for everybody.
No. And, we always say in my work, you're always learning someone else's strategy. It's something they made
that's
up.
so true.
Every single expert, every single authority, that's how it worked for them. It's their strategy that they're teaching. They're not teaching you your strategy.
Yeah.
We all have our own strategies. And I'll come back and finish the types, but I really want to use this example. Like when we're in alignment with our design, it is just a permission slip. I've looked at and read thousands of charts now, and I don't hear people say, oh, that's a surprise. I hear people saying, whoa, thank you. You just gave me permission to be me.
Yes, that's
And-
what I find. Mm-hmm.
Right. And I literally, just before this, I just interviewed Gary Zukav. So I don't know if you know who Gary,
Yes,
right?
I do.
Seat of the Soul, Oprah's
He's
Top
huge.
100. And his incarnation cross is literally the cross of Maya. And the cross of Maya is all about consciousness. It's about the illusion. It's about waking people up from the illusion, which is literally what he's done on the planet. So,
Yes.
human design isn't going to tell you something new, but what it's here to do is here to help you decondition. So conditioning is something that we predominantly, and you're going to know this, but we predominantly take on the most of our conditioning up until the age of 7, because all we care about when we're little and we have no ego, we have no filter, our brain is in theta state.
Yep.
We're just this sponge, and all we care about is getting love, being nurtured, and belonging. So everything we're learning is, who do I need to be to make sure those three things are covered? And unfortunately, what happens is that we predominantly create an identity that means we put masks on. We're not being our authentic self. We're putting masks on, running different behavioral patterns, being someone else to get these things. Now, human design is all about deconditioning. So it's letting go of who we think we need to be, and in fact, coming back to our authentic blueprint, our soul, our heart, our higher self, whatever you want to call it. And ultimately, when we do that, I strongly believe that we are all perfect puzzle pieces and we all fit together exactly.
Yes.
There are no mistakes.
Yeah.
And when we are our authentic self, yes, we could look like that old school leader that's influencing millions like Gary Zukav, but we could also be someone who's passionate about our rose garden. And that's the thing that we have passion for. And that puzzle piece fits Gary's puzzle piece just perfectly. We have to throw out these old standards of, success or, all of these things, because ultimately our purpose is to be our most authentic self.
Or we're robbing the world. The world's
Exactly.
not going to get
And
that
ourselves.
version. Yep. Yep.
We're here in Earth School having an experience, yet we're conditioned to make our life about everybody else.
Yeah.
And ultimately, we've been told that thinking about ourselves or putting ourselves first is wrong. And it's so untrue. And as we move to what we call in human design the new paradigm, which effectively or officially kicks over in 2027, we're really starting to wake up to realize that, wow, when I am my authentic self and I fill my cup up, I'm actually meant to give from the overflow. And when we love, trust, and accept ourselves, all we want to do is love, trust, and accept everyone else. We want to help everyone else. We want to, serve everyone else. Like, we are moving towards, and this might sound a bit wackadoo, but we are moving towards a world where money won't exist, because we'll do what we love and we'll give it away for free. We won't need to barter and buy things. And, we won't see this in our lifetime, but this is the world we're moving to. So it's such a big paradigm shift. And ultimately, I really believe that human design is such a paramount way that we're going to get there. Like, it's a very important bridge from the old paradigm to the new paradigm.
I agree. I think that's, amazing. Imagine that world.
There's so many
I know,
questions
right?
that we want to ask, but we should go back to finish
Yeah,
off that, because I
let's
took
do
you
it.
on a tangent there when I started talking
So
about
cool.
myself.
Usually
So,
that's me.
So good. But you know what? I'm a manifesting generator. It's the way I work. It's
Yeah.
perfect. So don't you worry about
Okay.
it. So yeah, MGs, they're our non-linear people. They're also generators at heart. So they've got to follow what they're passionate about, what they have energy for. Um, but they are here to demonstrate human potential. They're going to skip steps. They're going to find the hack. They're going to potentially make a mess, break stuff, and then remake it even better than before. So if we've got manifestors, initiate, generators, manifesting generators, build, then we have projectors. So, and generators and manifesting generators make up over 70% of the global population. Then we have projectors.
This is my son. This is our son.
Okay.
Tommy.
Yeah, right. So they're about 14%, and they're our wise guides. They're all about the efficiencies, doing things better. They can see deeply into others. They're very much on the planet to be seen for their wisdom. So if the manifestors have initiated, generators manifesting, generators building, the projectors then look at everything and go, all right, if you do less of this, more of that, have you thought about this? You're burning too much energy over there. That's wasted. They're the ones that are going to help us refine and improve, right? And if you have a projected child, there's two things I really want you to understand. Number one, you need to see that kid. Like, really, really recognize the wisdom that that kid was born with, because you will be standing in the kitchen and something will come out of that kid's mouth and you'll be like, you're only, I don't know, 6. How do you know that? They know that, like that's what they're here to do.
It's nice that you think we have a 6-year-old. He's 16, and I can give a real life example of the efficiencies, right? So I'm teaching him how to edit like videos and stuff, and he helps me with the podcast. And because I got into it very late in life, didn't do film school or anything, everything I learned was off YouTube, and I just learn enough to get the job done. But I'm quite slow, right? Like, I edit quite slowly. Within the first couple of days, it might have even been the first day, he'd worked out all these shortcuts for editing. He's like, Dad, why are you doing it that way? You just need to press this button once. And I'm like, I've been doing this for 6 years and I'm just learning this now. So yeah, it really,
He's a good addition to the business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it, and the beauty of that is that you recognize the wisdom within him. One of the greatest challenges for projectors is we're not taught as children how to get resourceful attention, okay? Most kids, and probably not him at 16, but more our generations, we were taught to be quiet, not seen. And for projectors, that is so incredibly painful because they're literally on the planet to be seen and acknowledged and recognized for their wisdom. And they have to wait to be invited. They have to wait for their wisdom to be invited. So every time you ask him, hey, can you help me with this? Or what do you think about that? Or I'd love you to just share anything you see over here. You're actually teaching him how to receive resourceful attention. Invite him places. I know that, everyone has to be to the dinner table, but ask him, invite him, come and sit down at the dinner table with me. Like, help him understand that not to burn himself out, giving all the things that he sees, because they will land so flat if he's not invited in, if people don't already see his wisdom. So it's super important for projectors because otherwise they just don't have the energy that most of the other types have.
Yeah.
Tommy, you're listening to it. He'll be editing this. So.
Yeah.
Pay attention, Tom.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And then the last is reflectors. They're only 1% of the global population. They're pretty rare, but they are effectively the energetic mirror. So they are always reflecting back the truth. That could be of a relationship, that could be of a family, could be of a business, a community, even a country, society, could be anything. So they are literally telling the truth. They are showing you. So whatever you see in a reflector is in you. So I often say to people, like, if you've got any reflectors in your life, do you like them? Do you not like them? What irritates you? What do you love? Because you're looking at yourself.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Yeah, so every reflector I've ever met is full of energy and enthusiastic and positive. And I'm like, okay, I see the pattern here. Um, so it's like when you have a reflector, when you are a reflector, you ebb and flow. Like you literally, your energy changes. Even it can feel like your personality changes depending on the people you're around or the environment you're in. So it's so important for them to feel really good with the people, the places, and the environments that they're in, because that's when they're really on their right path. It's all about that's their path feels good, but if it doesn't feel good, it's the wrong path.
Yeah. Yeah, I just find it incredible. And when you figure out, what your personality, or not personality, your energy type is, and then you're coming from that place. So being a generator, I definitely try and follow the things that light me up. And then I've always got this good energy that bubbles out and things. But I know that if I was doing, an area that wasn't lighting me up, then I'd feel depleted and I wouldn't be bubbling out that beautiful energy. I wouldn't be drawing people to me. So it is really important to kind of know, you've got to follow those passions. And then parts of the design that I also think are really amazing is your gifts, the gifts that you bring into the world. And when I've looked at my gifts, I was a little bit surprised actually, and I thought it would be my main gift would be more around my kind of counselling and my things like that, but it was innovation. And then I stopped and thought about it and I was like, oh my God, Tracy, you have come up with so many random inventions over my time that I never fulfill, but I have the ideas. I've got the ideas. And when I was learning EMDR, the eye movement technique, even with that, I kind of tweaked it to my own different version. And I've got a friend where she would never have tweaked it, but I was like, oh, that's okay. Now that I know that innovation's my gift, I'm going to, like what you were saying, that someone's come from that place in the very beginning, that might have been what they've created, but I can put my, versions of things on and, take things in a different direction. And it kind of just gave me that permission to do that. Like, I think without that, I might have been thinking, am I being cheeky? Am I being, but I was going, no, actually, I'm taking the skills that I've learnt over 20 years of my practice and putting them in and just sort of merging them together to make it a different kind of a technique that I think is more helpful. But I think if I hadn't have read that on my gifts, I might not have necessarily had that confidence, to do that. And then even things like, I've got a friend where she is very, very knowledgeable, but she doesn't really share that. Like, you've got to ask her things. I'll see it on Instagram. I'm like, oh gosh, you didn't tell me that, but I'd love to know that. But for me, I'm always spilling out my knowledge. I'm always telling everyone at parties, at supermarkets, like it doesn't matter where it is. And then when I read what my life theme was, mine was the cross of laws, where I tell people about the way to live and the way to, how to do things. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is exactly what I'm doing at any opportunity. And so again, I was like, okay, we're just different. So I'm not annoying people, like I probably am a little bit, but in terms of, that she's not sharing that, but that's because she's got a different design than me. So it's again, giving that permission to be uniquely myself and bring those gifts to the world.
Yeah. So I love that. I've got a few things I want to respond to. Do you know your friend's design? Do you know what type she is?
She's a manifesting generator.
Yeah, right. So just for the listeners as well, like I think what you're talking about, so when you talk about the cross of laws, that's actually called our incarnation cross.
Yes,
so
yes.
I think a lot of the language that you're using is Jenna Zoe's language.
Yes, it is that.
Yeah. And it's not actually the original knowledge.
Right.
And again, what I've just done now is exactly my design. I'm a 3-5. So the 3 is going to call out, like, I just over here, because this is actually, as much as it's correct for Jenna, it's not correct for everybody. So if there might be people listening and they're like, I don't know what a gift is. So the gifts are actually our gates.
Right.
So,
I never knew. When I listen to your podcast, I'm always like, I just must look at the design more. I don't know what the gates are, but the gifts are the gates. Okay.
And again, this is my design. So my core talent is the gate 43. And the gate 43 is really about breakthroughs and simplification. So I'm like, and I'm a 3-5 profile. So for me, I'm going to give you the practical truth, like what really works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's the 3. And the practical is the 5. So one of the things, like with the cross of laws, you are here to literally break all the rules. And when I say rules, I mean like the values and standards that no longer work. That's part of what you're here to do in the world. But the thing that we have to be very conscious of is that we can't do our incarnation cross. Our job is to be in alignment. What does alignment mean? It means we think, we act, we feel, we speak, all in the same direction, with consistency. So one of the big things for you is with this cross of laws, you don't have to think, shit, what rules do I have to break? Sorry, I hope I'm allowed
No,
to
you
say
can swear.
shit.
We were a swearing
yeah,
podcast.
totally.
Okay, great.
Australian.
Because I'm a terrible potty mouth, and I'm like sometimes,
Maybe it's our culture.
You could let loose.
yeah, exactly. But what's really important for you to understand is that your energy alone, so your aura, again, we know the aura exists. It radiates from the heart in a torus field. We understand that we can actually record this. We can take photos of it. Whenever someone comes into your aura, into your field, your cross activates.
Oh.
So what that means is that their energy, whether it or not, they could be completely unconscious. They need the energy or the inspiration or something to respond to or an invitation or whatever it is to break some sort of law, some sort of rule, whether that's a value, because it's the gate 50 that brings that, or a standard that doesn't work anymore. So one of the things that's really cool to understand is that you don't have to do anything. You don't even need to know really in depth what your incarnation cross means. Or you can, like I'm a cross of planning and I literally know it down to the detail of everything. But these things are happening all the time, whether we're conscious of it or not.
Yeah.
And it's all about just following our own alignment, our own strategy, our own authority, instead of giving our power away to people out there and feeling burnt out or resentful or like things aren't working. Like it's really so much than we've been taught that it is.
Yeah.
Whatever that definition it is for you.
It's a good segue to get a bit of your backstory. So tell us a bit about, what was happening in your life. How old were you? I did read a little bit on your website that I think you had a few things that you were dealing with. Is that what triggered you to get into human design?
Yeah, great question. So funnily enough, like so many things in the earlier decades of my life, I kind of got into human design kicking and screaming with a good dose of resistance. But I'll go back a little bit further. At 28, I was diagnosed with depression and panic disorder. And while sitting in the leading specialist's office in Melbourne, him telling me that this was something I was never going to heal, that I would have to learn how to manage it, that was really disheartening for me. That was a moment where I'm like, that just doesn't feel true. And the reason I'm in that, because I was so afraid that the thoughts of killing myself were going to turn into actions. So like I'm at like the deepest, darkest place in my life. And, I wouldn't wish that pain on anyone. Like it was awful. But in that moment, I remember saying to him, but if you can just tell me how I got here, I'm pretty confident I can work out how to get out of it. And of course, he had a bit of a giggle at me. And I was like, dude, I'm seriously considering taking my own life. Of course, I didn't say that out loud.
Yeah.
You've got to give me something more than that. I walked out of the office. I was walking across the car park and I thought to myself, well, as far as I see it, I've got two choices. Either I follow through on these terrifying thoughts or I find a way to heal myself. And ultimately that was the catalyst. That was the thing that led me down this path of, okay, I just need to work out what's going on between my ears. I got to work out what's going on in my brain. And that's when I did find, the biology of belief with Bruce Lipton. And when I said to him, I'm like, your book saved my life. Bruce in his divine humility just said, no, it didn't. You saved your life. And it was this journey of understanding the brain, human behavior, neuroscience, neuroplasticity. I went down the road of coaching and NLP. And I actually got to a place in my life where I had left the advertising industry. We were living in regional Victoria at the time, which was just like, it was so out of alignment for me. Moved to Sydney, had a couple of kids, retrained as a master coach. Life was feeling really, really good. And that was 2018. And at the beginning of the year in January, once again, I find myself in tears and I'm like, I've changed my entire life. I've rebuilt my brain from the ground up. Why do I still feel like I'm missing something? Why am I still feeling this incompleteness, like this hole? And at the time, I languaged that as my purpose. Like I know I'm on the right path, I'm heading in the right direction, but there's still something missing. And at that time, I actually walked, I don't know if you've heard of it before, but I walked the Camino. The Camino de Santiago is an 800-kilometer pilgrimage. It starts in the south of France, goes up and over the Pyrenees, on the top of Spain, all with this intention, my true purpose. And after walking the Camino, I kind of got to the end. And
Did you do
once
that
again,
on your own?
The first time I did. Yeah, I've done it
Wow.
twice now. And we're kind of talking about maybe doing it again next year. Otherwise, we'll do it in 2028.
Oh my gosh.
It's like I recommend anyone and everyone. It is an absolute game changer. But anyway, I get to the end of the Camino, and once again, I'm having this conversation with the universe. I'm like, all right, dude, I've learned so much about myself. This has been amazing and transformative, but I still don't feel like I have this solid piece. Like there's still, like, help me language what this thing is. And I'm like, whatever that is, I promise I'll do it. So I get back, and within 48 hours, I get emails, messages. People ask me about this thing called human design. Now, at that time, I'd already been introduced to it twice. And once because the language is really negative. Behavioral coach, I'm like, your language is creating your reality. I don't want that sort of language. And the second time, if I'm brutally honest, as much as everything it said about me was true, I didn't want to hear it.
Wow.
Like I don't want to hear that I'm aligned free and I'm going to learn through experimentation, falling down, getting up, lots of mistakes, lots of failure. Like, oh, go away. I don't want to hear it. I know it's true, but I don't want to hear it. So this time I made the promise to the universe. I'm like, well, crap. Now I've effectively backed myself into a corner. Okay, I will follow this human design thing because clearly that's the thing you keep bringing to me. And I just Google, expert, human design expert, Australia. And I find the only expert in Australia who actually studied with the original creator and the team that brought it to the world.
Wow.
And she away from me. The next day, I'm sitting having coffee with Kim, and I had the same experience where this complete stranger is telling me all my deepest, darkest secrets, stuff that I've never languaged out loud, like me to a T. I'm like, all right, I think this thing's worth experimenting
That's the
with.
best, isn't it? When you get that and you just resonate with everything that you're hearing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was the thing for me. All I've committed to is doing the experiment. I am not ready to ask my CEOs for their birth time. Let me tell you that much. Like, yes, I'm spiritual, but I'm definitely in the spiritual closet.
Yeah, the rest of it you can sort of slip in. Oh, where were you born? What city?
Exactly.
Birth time is a bit specific.
Exactly. And it's that whole, like, I was talking about energy and the quantum and all that sort of stuff because it had this like validity of science. Whereas back then I'm kind of like, what validity does human design have?
Yeah.
And of course it has loads, the nutrition part of it. And so I'm experimenting with it. And my most impactful early story, other than finding out I was a manifesting generator and going, oh, thank God I'm not a quitter, like,
yeah, see, that just validates it, doesn't it?
Right. But then also this moment where I'm in the shower where I get so many of my downloads and I just hear this voice in my head say, you need to change the name of your podcast to the Human Design Podcast. Now, at this same time, goes into free fall. You can't do that. Who are you enough? Back in your box, chocolate. Don't be so cocky. And my ego is also saying, haha, I don't have to do anything about that because I'm a manifesting generator and I cannot respond from mental energy. I have to respond from something external of me. So here I am with this insight. I'm writing it down and I'm thinking I'm safe as houses because that was just something I thought. I have to wait for it to show up externally. Then sure enough, I'm on the phone to a mentor the next day and he directly says to me, Emma, you need to do a podcast on this. And I was like, stop it. And of course,
There's
my
the
whole
confirmation.
body was like,
yeah.
right. And like, I'm an emotional authority. So I even told myself, well, I'll just see if I'm this excited about it 2 days from now. Yes, I was. And ultimately, I changed the name of my podcast, even though all the fear in me was like, you can't do that. I just did it purely for the experiment.
Yeah.
And to that moment, I've stuck to my design. I've run the And really the rest is history. You know, my podcast took off really quickly.
Did it?
I've broken really quickly, and I have a huge American audience. Do you know how many people say to me, how did you grow your American audience? I'm like, I don't know. I just followed my strategy and authority. I just be me.
Yeah.
And this is the beauty of human design, is that we start to realize that we are the strategy. It's not something that we consciously choose to do. It's who we're being. And I know we hear that a lot in this space, like the be, do, have model, but this is even deeper than that. So yeah, literally everything in my life now is just a result of being in alignment with my design.
It's so beautiful.
Wow.
And in fact, sometimes when I've had clients in front of me, depending if they're my kind of people in terms of belief systems and things that I'm really interested in, there's some that are just very close to that, so I wouldn't even bring that up. But for the ones that I know that could be open to it, I'll just say, hey, look, we could spend 10 minutes just talking about something a bit random. Would you be open to that? And I'll explain a little bit about human design, and then I'll look up their chart if they know their birth time and things, or I'll direct them to, go away and do that themselves. But they've always come back to me just feeling seen, just feeling so much more like, okay, I've got this, like just their self-esteem just lifts because they just feel so understood. I just think it's just such a beautiful way for giving that permission for people being unique. I just think that it couldn't be more beautiful. And then when I've done my friends, and some of them I've literally laughed out loud because when I've seen what their crosses were, I'm like, Paula, that is you. You absolutely call people out. That is what you do. It's like I joke about these people, and then I see the design. I'm like, okay, it's totally in your design. But yet I knew that from just seeing that, kind of within you. So it's just incredible. I just find it so exciting that this is getting more mainstream and people are knowing about it.
So if people are listening and thinking, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind learning more about this, like where's a good place for a beginner to start?
Yeah, great question. I mean, one of the things I would do straight away is, you can go to my website, emmadunwoody.com, and get your free chart. And specifically from my website, we're going to give you a 17-page full PDF for free, so that you can actually start to read all the really important parts of your chart. Because ultimately, we don't want to overextend ourselves with all the detail, because that's when people will tend to put it down and walk away. But really, you can start as simply as understanding your type, and from your type, you get your strategy. So for example, as a generator, your strategy is to respond.
Yes.
And you heard me sort of talk to this before. So what that means is you can't act on anything internal. You have to wait for your sacral, your gut, to respond to something external, because your gut's going to say yes, this, or no, I don't. So it's always about responding. But if you're a manifesting generator, you're, when we think about strategy, it's to respond, yes, correct, and to inform. So when you have a manifesting generator in your life, not only do they need to inform, so it's simple things like, hey, honey, I'm just ducking up the street, you could be just walking around the house, talking out loud. Informing is really important for the manifesting generator. And they also need to be informed. One of the things that used to make me crazy was my ex would be on his phone, and he's just going through his phone and he's doing this thing, and he'd say something to me, and I'd respond, and then nothing. And I'd be like, can you just tell me what you're thinking? Can you just tell me, can you give me 5 minutes to finish reading what I'm reading, or just talk?
Yeah.
So informing is really, really important. So once we understand our strategy, so again, strategy for a projector is to wait for the invitation, because often, projectors are going to have all the answers that you need, but it's not until you ask for their help or that you invite their wisdom that it's going to land. And reflectors, it's going to be over 28 days. How do you feel? Okay. So when we just operate from our strategy, manifestors as well, for those listening that are manifestors, it's to initiate and inform. Okay. So it's when you have that creative urge to just, I have to go do this thing now, go do that thing as best you can. And then we have our authority, which is our internal guidance system. So for example, I'm an emotional authority. I don't know what you guys are, but maybe one's sacral, maybe one's emotional.
Mine's sacral. I'm pretty sure mine's sacral.
Sacral? Yeah, cool. So know in the moment. Yes, I have energy. No, I don't. So you have to be really careful not to override that gut knowing in the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we have splenic. So a splenic authority is going to be intuitive knowing, like spontaneous intuitive knowing, just knowing. Like you jump up off your beach towel and all of a sudden, and you don't know why you did it, and then all of a sudden a rogue wave comes up, but you've had time to move your towel. It's that I know or why I know or where it came from, but I just know.
Right.
And then we have some of the less popular, small percentage of the population where we have ego, self-directed, and mental, which is all a version of what's called a sounding board. So they just need to speak things out to hear the truth. Once we understand our strategy and authority, we don't necessarily need to go any deeper. If we just experiment with those two things, we will ultimately come into alignment, into authenticity. So that's the beauty of human design, is that you could be like me and go super deep into human design and go into a lot, or you can just strategy and authority. Ultimately, down the track, a number of years down the track, we're going to get to the same destination, no matter which way we go.
Yeah. When you were saying about the energy types and being projector, I'd heard, or I thought I know, that they can get a lot done in a short amount. Well, they can get a lot done compared to most people, but they need to rest more. Is that correct for the projectors? So then I was thinking about that. In terms of society, if they need to do that, they need to have more time off. Whereas if they're smashing out 3 people's jobs but doing that 5 days a week, they're going to burn out pretty quickly. They're better off doing contract
100%.
work where they would just get that job done and then now I can rest because I've completed that task.
Well, one of the big distinctions, right, with a projector is work. So what is work versus obsession? Because a projector is going to obsess about something. They're going to want to make something better, refine it, improve it. And when they're down, that actually gives them energy. Anything that drains their energy. So, and that can look really different for different people. So, for example, like as a manifesting generator, you're going to get a lot of shit done, right? So my core team, because I have no interest in running a big team. I have a big business, but our team is tiny. But the core team is 3 MGs. So we get so much done. We break every rule, and anything that is not necessary, we just don't do. We're not interested.
Yep.
So, there's all these, depending on your type. But with a projector, what you need to be very conscious of is anything that burns your energy is going to burn your energy fast, because a lot of projectors don't have what we call a lot of definition. So they're constantly taking in everyone else's energy, amplifying it and reflecting it back. So how this looks is, and all of us are doing it, all of us are taking in people's energy, amplifying it and reflecting it back wherever we don't have. But for the 3 of us, for example, we all have our own what's called defined sacral, which is the biggest, most powerful motor in the design. So we're not going to get drained by anyone else's energy because we have our own consistent, reliable energy. But your sun, he's taking in your energy, he's amplifying it, and he's reflecting it back at you. That in his system is exhausting. So if you think about manifesting generator kid at school, they have all this energy. They can go all day, they can go to after school sport, like they've got their own consistent energy and they're not being burnt out by other people's energy. Whereas your son, he goes to school, processes everybody else's energy, tries to learn something, and, God forbid he has to go to after school activities because he's like, dude, I need to be on my own. I need to have, right? He needs to have his own bedroom. He needs to have his own space. He needs to be able to decompress from everybody else's energy.
He used to hate daycare. He never wanted to be daycare.
Right? It's because there's so much going, and they're seeing and feeling so many things that the other kids aren't seeing and feeling. So it can be a lot for projectors. But the distinction I really want to make is that there's a lot of human design people out there that make projectors out to be like, oh, I just can't do anything. I don't have any energy. And that in itself isn't true, because it's going to depend on the deeper design. Okay. Right. And the example I use all the time is Taylor Swift. So Taylor Swift, to the outside world, it looks like she never stops working, right? And she's a splenic projector, or is she an emotional projector? Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is that she does have consistent motor energy, but most of the things she does isn't work. It's not work. She does what she loves all the time. And the things that burn her out are other people's energy. It's us or the things that she's not obsessed about that burn her out, not, doing some epic world tour or, whatever,
Wow.
it's a really important distinction with projectors. Yeah.
Did you, when you figured out, human design and things, did you parent differently once you figured out your kids' designs?
100%. 100%.
What did you think you
So
did different?
I have two. Well, one of the big things with my two kids, because they're MGs, manifesting
Oh,
generators.
both of them.
Like, yes, and we're a house full of manifesting generators, and we have a little reflector dog, and he's already a border collie, but like this thing's unhinged, and I'm like, sorry, mate, because he's literally bombarded by all of this energy all the time, and he's just on, like he never switches off.
That was so interesting to me that Emma was saying before we started that you can do dog readings because Lenny always is on my lap. So I'm definitely going to do Lenny's.
Yeah, let's get Lenny's done.
Yeah, it's so cool. But my kids specifically, so one of the biggest things with these and manifestors is that they need so much freedom. They need freedom. They need freedom to make their own mistakes. They need freedom to go where they want to go. They need to be empowered to believe in themselves because, MGs they're going to find a better way. They're going to break things. They're going to, make a mess, but they also are intrinsically driven by freedom. So if you try to shut down this really big energy, because manifestors and manifesting generators are the people that when they walk in a room, they walk in the room. They can be a super quiet person, but they walk in the room.
Yeah.
It's a big, big energy. So I think there's so many things that I have parented differently, but giving my two boys freedom, I think I look at that in such a way that, especially in the world that we live in today and the challenges facing, like it's one of the like suicide is like one of the like second or third biggest killer of people in the US, like and in Australia. So it's very counterintuitive, but yet I have boys that aren't addicted to their phone. I have boys that believe in themselves, that, they're not afraid to face the hard things. They're not afraid to go out and take risks because that's what boys need to do to develop. So I really feel like so much of raising them in alignment with their design. I mean, I've got a 1-4 and a 2-4, and the 4, both of you are 4s. It's all about relationships. So your safety in the world will be reliant on the quality of your relationships, right? So, I'm just at the end of a divorce and just knowing that they're line 4s, I'm like, okay, my only goal for my kids, the most simple thing I need to focus on is my relationship, my one-on-one relationship with both really strong and tight. Because if I do that, if I help that line 4 energy stay safe in the relationship, they'll be able to navigate all the other hard stuff. And that's ultimately how they've navigated through all the hard things because, again, I knew what they needed to feel safe.
How beautiful that you can be so specific to what they actually need and their design and things. Do you talk to them about it or do you just sort of behind the scenes just do your stuff or do they
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the time I'm really big on, because I don't like being told who I am. So I was always really big on, I'm not going to say you're this, you're that. When they were littler, they would be like, Mummy, tell me about my design. Tell me this, tell me that. Whereas now, every now and then I'll say like, are you interested in hearing something? And sometimes they are and sometimes they're not. But I actually think about, the defining moments. My eldest from, I think he was like 15 when he had his like this serial monogamist, and he would get into a relationship and the moment he was in a relationship he'd go, oh God, don't want to be here, so he would keep I think he did it 3 times. And I remember saying to him once, hey, you're a line 4. The thing is that most relationships are going to come through friendship first, so take it or leave it, do what you want with it, ignore it if you want. And then the next relationship, and that was his longest of all of them, he was like, Mom, that was a game changer. And the moment you said it, I knew it was true. Right? So now he actually navigates through, we have to be friends first. He's very conscious that he has to be friends.
He did the experiment, didn't he? He ran the experiment.
Exactly. He did the experiment. Yeah.
I love that. That is crazy. Do you know, we had my dad had gotten a chart done, or his wife at the time had done a neonatal chart for my son when he was first born. And when you're reading a chart, you know, obviously they had the time and the birth, you know, all the details, kind of like human design. And when I was reading it as a baby, it wasn't very interesting because he hadn't developed anything yet. But I just found that chart just a couple of weeks ago. And so I started reading through it, and we were getting Tommy to read through the things. And so much of the stuff was accurate. Some of the things that he butts heads with, which was saying about his relationship with Scott being really important, and just some of his personality traits in there, that I was like, how crazy that this thing that was written before as he was born could be so accurate now. And even to the point where he's then seeing that and reading that and going, yep, I relate to that. So
yeah, that was crazily accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't, because we haven't read it for like 15 years. It didn't make sense at the time because he was one or less than one.
But I love that your son can do his design even now, you know, through the relationships and stuff. Like, that's just, blows my mind. I love it.
It's one of the things
It's
that I think,
so cool. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, one of the huge things that I've, as you've been talking, sort of been dawning on me, it's not just about learning more about yourself. It really sounds like it can really improve your relationships, obviously with your kids, with your partner, with other people in your life. I mean, I think before you were referencing trying to figure out who your CEO,
Yeah,
like
your
all
staff,
of those
yeah,
things.
yeah.
Because once you have that understanding, then that totally changes your perspective.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that I often say is, like, if you think about one of our core principles on planet Earth is this thing called the golden rule. And the golden rule is to treat others the way you would like to be treated. And what human design teaches us is that actually that's not true. We want to treat others the way they're designed to be treated, because the world is not, you know, we see the world as we are, not as it is. We assume others are like us, but they're not. So human design gives us the roadmap to really understanding the truth of the person sitting in front of us. You know, like, we do a lot around business, and someone said to me not long ago, they're like, oh, wow, do I need, like, you talking about your team, do I need to hire a manifesting generator? And I'm like, no, you need to follow your own design, because we have one generator in our team. But you know, her role is kind of a little pillar on its own. She's a PR person. But the truth is, if anyone who wasn't an MG came into our core team, everyone would be like, oh my God, I can't handle this. Like, how are you doing everything at the last minute? How are you focusing on 5 different things? This is too much, it's too much, it's too much. Whereas for us, we're like, yeah, cool. And we could be having one conversation and all of a sudden go, oh, right turn. This is the thing over here. And then I want to add that. And what about this over there? And 3 of us were like, yeah, sweet. Like, that's it. You're speaking my language. Right?
Can I ask a question about that? Because
please.
You've just described how I work, and we did a episode about ADHD the other day, and because sometimes I question, do I have ADHD? Because I'll be working on something, right? I might be editing a film or something, and then I'll do that for 20 minutes, and then I'll just have this desire to switch over to something else and work on that for 5 minutes, and then come back and do this, and then switch over to something else. And this whole time I've been questioning myself, thinking, do I have ADHD? Why do I do this? But it's more...
So I get this question all the time.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
And honestly, the amount of manifesting generators that are diagnosed with ADHD, and Ra, who brought this work to the world, he actually said ADHD doesn't exist. It's actually just people that are either perceiving these beings are wrong because they're not like the others, or they're just out of alignment, meaning that that's the way you're designed. I often think about me on a Sunday, right? On Sunday, I try not to have any plans. So I might get up and then all of a sudden I'm at the beach, and then I'm walking the lighthouse. And then I come home with this idea that actually I might do some gardening, and then I'll start repotting something, and something's half repotted, and I think, oh God, I've got to get my beach towel. So I'll go and get my beach towel. And so I will literally ping pong or pinball, move from all these different things. At the end of the day, all the things done, But I've just flowed from one thing to the next, which is perfectly normal for a manifesting generator. It's when people try to tell us you've got to be linear. Because as a generator, you're linear. You're like, hey, I love this thing and I've got lots of energy for it, so I'm going to keep doing it till I master it. As a manifesting generator, you're going to be like, hey, I've got lots of energy for this thing. Oh, and that thing. Oh, and that thing over there too.
He does
and I'm
do
just
that.
going to follow my energy, you know? So it's very much like when you understand your energy, you're like, yeah, I'm going to master things, but I'm not going to master it through doing the same thing over and over and over again. I'm going to master it by getting just what I need and applying it to what I'm working to. And then I'm going to go over there and get something I've learned over there. And then I'm going to probably bring hack in over from there. So it's really understanding that, no, you're designed to be, you do 20 minutes of this and the half an hour of that, like you go for it. You just got to follow your energy.
I love that. There
Yeah.
you go. Give him permission.
Again, validates me.
It does validate you. Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the work that you do on your retreats and with clients. Is that, I don't know what word you would use to describe the people that you work with, but you because the reason I want to talk about this is because I want people who are listening to sort of see how it can be applied in life to improve your circumstances and what you're doing and how you feel about yourself and what you're achieving in life. And I thought if we talk about that a little bit, it might help sort of show how you can not just learn who you are, what you are, but you can then sort of apply it in life.
Yeah, and such a great question. I mean, I
You
think
keep saying that and I
for
really
me
appreciate it. It's helping build my ego as being a good interviewer.
Yeah, good.
That's what she's here for. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And again, like this is being a manifesting generator. I'm just responding, you know, and I have what's called a motor to the throat. So I'm not even thinking about it. Like everything that comes out of my mouth is coming directly from my gut.
Can I just say, as you said that, just dawned on me, and I have said this word before, but okay, first of all, when Scott says to me, what do you want to watch on TV or for dinner and things, because of my design, I say to him, you need to give me 3 options because I need to respond to something. So I don't know if that's me just hijacking my design and making it,
suit the circumstances.
Yes. But,
it's spot on.
Oh, but it's how I work now. And so the other thing was because I find the podcast so easy because I'm just chatting, and that's obviously, I'm like you, I can chat underwater. And so when I was asked to do a keynote speech recently, and the thought of getting up and doing a 45-minute speech just freaked me out. And so I negotiated with them that I could do 15 minutes and then Scott and I would come up on stage together and kind of do almost like a live version of a podcast. But it's because I said to them, I need to respond to something. Otherwise I feel like it's performance. So I need to actually be asked a question and then I can just tell you. I can just blah, 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 straight off, off the bat. I would prefer that. So that just, again, validates that it's part of my design to respond to something rather than it just coming from me, naturally in that way.
Yeah, 100%. So any generator type, so generator, manifesting generator, they have to have something to respond to. Now, there are also deeper parts of your design that are going to indicate that you prefer to be more in response and allow answers to come through more like a channel than preparing. And for me personally, like I have what's called no mental definition. So I love to be put on the spot, ask questions, or someone say, hey, talk about this for 20 minutes. Cool, easy, no worries. But if I have to write a speech and then read that speech, I'm like, I don't know who I am. I can't, like it doesn't work for me. So I've learned as a speaker to be in this place of constant response. So whether that's I create slides that I can respond to, or I have like 4 bullet points that I respond to, because I'm not designed to, write something, perfect it, and then regurgitate it. That's not just type, that's deeper in our design as well. So if you had mental definition, then a lot of people with mental definition, they can write a speech, they can memorize it, and they're going to feel a lot more comfortable having that clarity. Whereas for me, it's the polar opposite. So, again, there's always a workaround. Like if you feel like, yeah, I really want to be a speaker, like if you've got energy for that, then there will be a way that's correct for you. But if you feel like, I just don't have energy for it, like, honestly, I don't want to do it. And from a place of alignment. So again, it's not coming back from conditioning or fear. It's coming from love and authenticity. Then it's just not the modality in which you're going to share your wisdom, you know? So it's, again, trusting yourself. And I want to come back to the question. So honestly, the business that I've created, and then I'm going to talk to how we help other people do the same thing. The business that I've created, I can all like, and it feels a bit icky even saying it. I feel like I'm so selfish because I've built a business that doesn't feel like business. I've built it in a way that I love it. So other people, I have a lot of peers that have a similar business, similar revenues, similar size audience, and they have big teams, and they have teams that, you know, produce their podcast, and they have teams that do their marketing, and they have teams that, or I'm like, I don't want to run a team. I don't want to do that. I'm not interested. I want to stay nimble. I want to have freedom. I want to be able to live my life at the same time. I want to travel. You know, we travel a lot to the US. We've done retreats in Bali. We've done retreats in Mexico. Where else have we done? We've done retreats all over Australia.
How do you choose
and
your
whenever
places?
we're deciding,
Oh, yeah, there you go.
it's where I want to go. It's where I want to go.
Beautiful. I
You
love
know, like,
that.
right? You know, we actually just did our first pure business retreat in America, and we did it in Ohio. And every single American's like, why the hell did you go to Ohio? Because we found this really cool place that I liked. And I had this idea that, because I'm a really hot weather person, so every retreat except for this one has been somewhere warm. There's been a pool, you know, we're in our bikinis most of the time, because, you know, it's my happy place.
Yeah.
But this amazing house came up, and T that works with me said, oh, God, you should see this place. And it's in Ohio. And I was like, I just had this feeling, like, said to her, what would that be like if it was freezing cold outside and we were all huddled inside learning business and actually getting all these people to build these assets? So building the offer and building their dream client. Oh, that feels like that'd be really good. So it came from this aligned place, following strategy and authority. And again, everyone asked us, like, why would you do Ohio in the autumn, in the fall? You know, it was snowing. And I'm like, because it was snowing and we're in the middle of nowhere and it's beautiful. So again, like, my entire business, and I also have what's called a personal profile. So you both have personal profiles. So it's really important to understand that so much of what you create in the world is going to be first about you. And again, this is going to go against our conditioning, because our conditioning is, well, I have to be in service first. Nope. If you're a transpersonal profile, a 5-1, a 6-2, so the big number comes before the small number, then sure, you do go external first. You're inspired by the world. You know, you're inspired by service. However, as a personal profile, it's a lot about me. So does that mean that I'm selfish? No, it means that I'm serving from authenticity. So when we created this whole retreat, it came from this place of alignment. And every retreat we do, people are like, oh my God, this is the best retreat I've ever been on. And anyone who sees behind the scenes, they're like, A, how are you guys not stressed? B, how is it only you two doing everything?
Wow.
And it's just so easy. I'm like, yeah, it's one of our business principles, easy.
Yeah.
So I've really come to understand that we overwork everything. We employ too many people. We've even created, right? And we've even created a chatbot called Maggie,
I've heard
that
this.
has she's a game changer. All the human design IP, all of our business strategy IP. She can help you at startup, growth, scale, all of it, because I'm such a big believer in that we are here to live our life, and that is our service, and it's going to look different for everyone, how that shows up. So again, just coming back to the question, the truth is that, you know, I live this life where I've chosen to go and live in Byron Bay. I don't actually feel like I work every time. I travel a lot. I'm always going to places I want to go. And, you know, I'm making really good money doing it. But the thing that drives me, again, is I'm a line 5, which means that I was born with this deep desire to have global impact, to make people's lives better, to leave the world better than I found it. So I do have this big driver to take care of the world, but the more I've learnt to be in alignment and do it my way and to break all the business rules or break all the parenting rules or, I don't know, like you name it, I've broken the rules.
Love that.
This is actually where we start to build a life that is true to us. It's actually the thing that's going to make us feel fulfilled. And then we're going to serve even more people through our authenticity than we ever would trying to force ourselves to be someone we think we need to be to succeed.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
In terms, I'm always banging on to people about society. Like, don't do it how your parents did it. When I see a person that's got their combi van down at the beach and they're working on their laptop between sets, I'm like, good on you. You're just figuring out life your way rather than just doing that prescribed Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Here's what you got to do. Have many kids, go to uni, like all that path that's been pushed on us. I love when you're talking like this and you're just proving to everybody that when you are living in alignment, you can have everything and it doesn't feel like it's a big slog. Like we watch some of these real estate shows where, they're really working hard and their time and energy is going, to everybody else and their family's suffering and they're burnt out. And you just think, what's it all for? So I love that you've created
I feel like that's even exactly how I've built the business. So every time something in my business feels like it's an energy drain versus it gives me energy, I just don't do it anymore. Like I stop doing it. And again, it's because I've learned to stop looking for the power and authority outside of myself. I'm fully aware that I'm guided in every moment. There is something so much bigger than my subconscious mind that's just looking at the past. It can be tapped in. My heart and my soul are tapped into the quantum, to the collective, to something that's far bigger than I will ever be, but at the same time is me. So when we actually are in alignment, when we're being our authentic self, it feels like life is magical, like miracles happen all the time. I mean, there was a coach that I wanted to work with this year, and I'd always wanted to work with this guy because, I'd done all the programs, I loved him. And I finally got him on the podcast. And after I'd finished the podcast, and his name's Jim Fortin, I said to him, would you coach me? And he said, no, I don't coach one-on-one anymore. I don't do it anymore. And I was like, damn it. I just knew that I would be coached by him. And then I sent him one more message and I'm like, are you sure? And he sends me this big number. He goes, yeah, sure, if you pay this. And I'm like, done, I'm in. And obviously he didn't, I think he thought I would just walk away, right? And he's a hugely integrous man. And he's like, all right, let's do this. And he's also, he's one of the leading coaches on the planet, but he's very spiritual. He's apprenticed with a shaman for 20 years or something.
Oh, wow.
So I finally start working with this guy. It's amazing. It's really good. I ultimately, finish working with him. But through this whole process, that's how I met Gary Zukav, because they're besties. It's like,
wow.
we think we're going to do things for a particular reason. I thought that he was going to help me fix certain things, but actually working with him just took me back to the same place I'm always brought back to. The answers are within me.
Yeah.
Stop asking everyone outside of you for the answers. They're in there. Follow your truth. So then all of these just little breadcrumbs, all of a sudden I'm interviewing Bruce Lipton or, Colette Baron-Reid, or I'm sitting, I don't know if you're into biohacking, but I was just interviewed by Dr. Will Cole, who's the original functional doctor. Like Elle Macpherson and Gwyneth Paltrow are his patients.
Oh, wow.
And we're sitting there having a chat about aliens. I'm like,
jeez,
this is surreal, man.
Goodness, pinch me now.
They're never, right? They're never things that I've ever put on a vision board. Same thing with my book. I've got a book published in the UK and in the States, in a lot of European countries, here in Australia, all with Penguin. And when people ask, how did you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I just followed my strategy and authority.
Wow.
So I really want people to know that I'm just the same as everyone else. I'm not special. Everyone has this capacity to just follow the breadcrumbs and watch the magic unfold.
I agree. I think we're pretty much doing that, like in terms of the things that the breadcrumbs, and we followed things and we're doing things that light us up and we say no to things that don't. Like I think it does make a huge difference for your energy levels. You're not putting them in places where you're feeling drained and, you know, depleted and things. So how amazing, like even the fact you can just rattle that off. Oh yeah, book and of this and of that, you know, like it's incredible what you've achieved and the people that you're interviewing and that caliber. Like it's incredible. Yeah.
So how do people?
Grateful,
so people
very
have
grateful.
been listening and are interested to learn more and maybe interested in your retreat, because that's coming up early next year. Is that correct?
Yeah, we've got one in Australia early next year. Yeah, we've got HDX as well, which is an online community. I feel like they're basically my second family. It's pretty cool.
And I hear you talk about them on the podcast, and it's so beautiful because we run retreats also, and we have like a WhatsApp group at the end of the retreats, and then we've put people in an alumni one. And I love the same thing, that people just chat and share things, and you know, they're our people. Like I think it's so beautiful. I think when people come together in that way, especially if they've been on a retreat where they've connected, like they've got those bonds and they share things that they probably don't share those things with people in their regular lives, as the kinds of things that they're sharing. So how beautiful that you've got that. Awesome. How big's your community?
I'm so grateful. God, I don't even know. Like, again, I think that's the thing with, you know, I sort of talk about my role in the business as the visionary, and people often ask me about numbers and success metrics and stuff. Like, I've got no idea, because that's not the thing that lights me up. Whereas my COO, she could tell you anything and everything. Mm-hmm. She can tell you our conversion rates, which product's our biggest seller. Like, it's because it lights her up. She loves it.
You're making me feel a lot better about myself.
Go ahead.
Because I'm the same. Like, I'm not that interested in those specifics. I like to think of the big picture and then work towards that. But I don't get bogged down in those little things that I know will light other people up. But I'm like, no, I sort of know where I want to go. Let's go there.
Steer the ship there.
Yeah.
And honestly, and again, like talking to Gary this morning, like this is the way, this is this new paradigm. This, you know, he talks about the new consciousness that we're all stepping into right now. Like, we have been taught that we need to know with absolute clarity who we want to be and what we want to create. And it's just no longer true. If we can just trust the unknown and trust ourselves and our authenticity, we really feel so much more fulfilled, because honestly, like, I've just rattled off a bunch of material things. They're just material things. The thing that lights me up every day is this, what we're doing right now. Talking to you, hearing about your experience, sharing human design, like doing that on retreat. You know, on retreat, I have just as much of a breakthrough as everyone else there. Like, everyone who's ever been on retreat with me, like, they have heard my deepest, darkest fears and all the sort of things. Like, because this is just as much about my journey as it is about their journey. And when I was training to be a coach, like, my mentors would have been like, don't you dare talk about your story. But human design, once again, gave me the permission. I'm a freaking line 3. I'm here to tell you about my experiences. Yeah. So I also use my space to model as the visionary, because our audience is so visionary that this is what leadership looks like. It's not like I have power and control and I have all the answers. What leadership looks like to me is that I'm going to show up. I'm going to be authentically me. I have confidence in who I am. I probably do not have anywhere near all the answers. Mm-hmm. However, I know that I can guide you and help you to find your authenticity, your inner authority, everything you need so that you can step into that same authenticity and empowerment. And I know, again, through my design, that's what I'm meant to do. That's what I'm on the planet to do. I have no desire to be some freaking guru. I just no desire whatsoever. For me, I want to connect deeply with people. I want to help people raise their consciousness and be authentic. And honestly, the one thing I want in my lifetime is the thing I've always wanted. I just want people to get along. I just want people to get along. And of course, in my human design, like, it's my most prominent energy. It's the gate 37. It's called the gate of friendship, the gate of community, and it's all about equality. Like, that's really the thing that drives me. I just want us all to be equal.
How beautiful. And again, once you know what your gates are and you know, you feel it, and then you can live in that
Yeah.
in that way. Yeah, it must be magical on
And
your
you don't have
retreats.
to try, no trying.
Yeah. You just, again, like you said, you're just in alignment. But I imagine on your retreats when you're watching people get those insights and those moments and things, because even for us, when we see people shift and change, like that feeds my soul. Like I just,
Same.
yeah, it's just beautiful, isn't it? Like, and even like we do breathwork events now as well. So even just seeing people, you know, from a breathwork event and shifting and their energy and how they feel afterwards, like just any sort of shift and change, I think we just get so lit up by.
Yeah. I never thought I'd be doing this. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Right. And again, like we have to surrender to that, because when we surrender to it, life shows up in a way that we could never have imagined. And, you know, I think about my community. We were closing out 2025 this week. So we were just doing a review. And there's people in there that have been in HDX, because once you're in, that have been there for like 6-7 years, you know, and they've grown together, and they find, I don't know, it's probably the same for your community. Like people say, I just want to find my people. Well, HDX is your people, and retreat is your people. And, you know, I've watched these people be friends for years and grow businesses together and, raise children together and like all of this stuff. And it lights me up. I just love it.
You know, I think just people coming together and sharing things is just beautiful. I mean, I have mentioned this on the podcast before, but one time we were in Bali and Scott saw this big group of ladies and they looked a bit like a mishmash of ages and cultures and things. And he said to me, I wonder what brought them together, because you could tell they weren't school friends because of the different ages and things. And we were over there on the school holidays and I said, maybe they're teachers, maybe they're nurses or something like that. Anyway, I'm very nosy. So my curiosity got the best of me. And after about 2 days, I went over to them and I said, my husband's really curious about how you guys, all got together. And it turned out that they met on a retreat and they'd actually decided to travel together after the retreat. But there would have been like, what do you reckon, 9 people, 10 people?
Yeah, and just such a mishmash of people. That's what was doing my head in. I couldn't figure it out.
But it was so beautiful that was the connection from being on retreat, that they decided to do their own thing. And that gave us hope, because I think it was right before we were starting I've done relationship ones for 6 years, but we only did individual ones from last year. And so it gave us confidence to go, this is needed. People want to connect. People want to find people that they can have real conversations with, they can be authentic with, they can, let go of all the expectations of what others, in their normal life might have on them, and they can just show up as they are. So I just think it's so special.
Now
and
you've
you know
been
what?
Oh, go on.
Sorry. Can I just really quickly, because I love this, because I think it's more evidence of this new paradigm we're moving into, because when we see women of all generations together, the power of that is huge, because women for so long, you're not valuable after 35 or something like that. Yet our species, the human race, there's only 3 species on planet Earth that have menopause. And we know through evolution, through biology, the purpose of menopause is because the females of these species, so it's us, I think it's blue whales and orcas, the females must be taken out of, creating life and put into the role of the wise leader, because that's the only way the species will evolve and survive.
Oh, wow.
And when we see women of all generations together, and this goes for men too, we realize that the old world is falling apart, because the rules of you're only valuable if you're young is so outdated. It's so wrong. Like you are valuable no matter your age. And when you can value your wisdom as a 20-year-old and value the wisdom of a 60-year-old and understand that that is both as important as each other, to me, that demonstrates that the world is changing, because age is just a number. It's all about how we can help and serve each other and the wisdom that we have to contribute.
And you're exactly right. We had people on our retreat that were in their 60s and then people in their 20s, and they still connect, they still get along, they still have things to share. It's beautiful.
So good.
Yeah, it's lovely.
I'm conscious of how much of your time we've taken up, and you've been very generous to share that with us. Is there anything, before we can go into like a little wrap up, but is there anything else you would like to talk about that we haven't covered? Or, I mean, there's so many different areas. Like I feel like it's been a nice little dip your toe in the water kind of thing.
I feel like we've covered a lot. I feel like
Yeah.
I've talked a lot. And I feel like I've jumped in a lot. Sorry about that.
No,
Oh,
we
no,
love that.
that's
That's
why
my
you're on
kind
the
of
show.
gal.
Yeah, that's why you're on the show.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, there's lots of, Emma's got obviously a podcast as well, which I've shared with many, many people. And so you can also cherry pick, like once you know your design, once you've looked at the chart from, Emma's website, you can actually then go through and cherry pick. I've listened to certain episodes where I'm like, you're talking about generators, I'll listen to that one. So you can, cherry pick what your design is and listen to, more information as well that way.
And where can we
you can
find
also
you?
just
Oh, yeah, go.
I just want to jump on. Sorry. When you get your chart on emmadunwoody.com, we'll actually send you the links to the correct podcast episodes for your type or your
great.
authority
That's
or
clever.
whatever. Like, yeah, it's designed in a way that you don't just have to scroll through. I think we're nearly up to 500 episodes, so you don't have to scroll
Emma.
through them all to find stuff that is valuable to you. Like, we'll send you to the right place. Don't worry about that.
I just need to compliment you on that because we're only up to our 35 or
This will
something
be
like that.
35.
Yeah, but my goal was when we very first started was just to get to 20 because I'd heard somewhere that only 1% ever get to 20, and so I was like, right, I just want to be in the 1%. That's my first goal, and then now I don't really care. But it was just so important to me at the very beginning to just have some sort of tangible number, time to get there. But gosh, 500, that's a whole nother ball game. But
Yeah, honestly.
And it just feels easy, doesn't it?
I don't even know.
Because I just feel like I could do this for...
Yeah, I look at my design and I'm like, part of my purpose is using my voice. So it makes sense, And again, it's so fascinating because I've never been focused on the numbers. It's just, again, not the thing that lights me up.
Yeah,
but
you're just enjoying the chats.
do I want to not do it? No, because I love it,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, well done, though. That is incredible because all the...
Thank you.
The time you put in. So, yes. And we've all benefited from your knowledge, so thank you.
And I'll...
You're welcome.
I'm turned down. I'll put links to Emma's podcast in our show notes and links to the website and also Instagram where we can find you and you can learn all about the retreat that is happening in
where's that one?
Is it January 2026?
So, yeah, the one in April is in Byron Bay. And we haven't actually released any of the other places in the world so far this year. So that's the next one. I think it's nearly full. So if it sounds like something you are interested in, just make sure you take a look at it and just follow your strategy and authority.
Beautiful.
Amazing. Thank you so much. It's been such a information-packed show, and I always like to do, because I'm the person on the show that I get not dragged along. Tracy leads the way, right? And then I come sort of trailing behind.
I'm that person that comes to me, guess what? Blah, 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 blah. And he's like, okay.
But I can honestly say, as someone who is naturally skeptical about things, this will blow your mind.
Yes.
If you do nothing else, jump on the website and get your chart, and it will validate you.
Get a cup of coffee, sit down, read it. You will be blown away.
Learn more about your partner, your kids, your mum and dad, and who you work with. Like, it's mind blowing how accurate it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you for sharing your knowledge. We really appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you, Emma.
Thanks so much for having me. It's just been so good chatting to you guys. And I'm so glad that human design's been so helpful.
Oh, yeah. I just love it. I love sharing it with clients. But thank you again. We know when we were speaking to your American liaison person that you're so busy with American people and stuff, and she did say you might be able to sneak in because you're Australian, your time zones and stuff. So thank you. You squeezed us in really quickly, so we appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, you're so welcome. It's been so much fun. And I love the Aussies. I feel like we're just starting to catch up here in Australia, and it's so important that Australians open their minds to this stuff because
they're ready. They're ready.
It's changing whether we like it or not, right? So we may as well get on the train. So once the Aussies are on the train, they'll be all on the train. It's just getting there,
Yes. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your podcast today. I know you've got more after us.
Yes.
There is more. Thank you so much, guys. So lovely to meet you.
Thank
Pleasure.
you.
See you later.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, there you go. That was a pretty amazing moment for you. I know you've wanted her on the show for quite some time.
I know. There was only two people I really pushed for. Janelle Booker and Emma Dunwoody.
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, big thank you to Emma. And it's such a broad topic. Like I still even though we chatted for so long, I still feel like we only scratch
I
the
think
surface.
it's because there's so many different things that are individual. So I think people do need to go and look at
Yeah,
their
I
charts,
would
and then
agree.
they'll see for them what resonates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we didn't even really delve into what all those numbers meant
Yeah.
and stuff. But yeah, I think to recap, the things that you need, obviously, where you were born in the world, the time of day.
Yeah, which is a tricky bit for some
That's the
people
hard
to,
bit, yeah.
you know, they don't always know or their parents don't remember.
And then, your birthday, and then you can go from there.
Yeah. Yep. So that's all you need. So yeah, jump on her website and you'll be able to download that chart.
Beautiful. If people do want to know what we're doing, because we actually just did our very first breathwork journey, emotional release breathwork journey.
Yeah, we did our first breathwork journey. That was amazing.
That was on Sunday, and we had 8 people in. It was a really nice space that we
it's
did that in. It
beautiful,
was
yes.
called the Raw Space in the Swan Valley, and it was this beautiful room, and it was surrounded by nature, and
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
definitely decided that we will never, ever, ever do one in a community centre.
I know,
Like
we were
once-
spoilt from the first time, so we can't really go down now.
yeah, we've set the bar. So if that is of interest to you, we'll be doing more in 2026. So to find out about those, the absolute best place to go is the mailing list. So you can sign up for the mailing list at tracyquayle.com. And then obviously we promote it on social media. So you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, obviously YouTube as well. It's at tracyquayle.therapy. We actually had our first clip from the show go viral, didn't we?
Yes. Yeah, that was quite
From the ADHD episode. It was the morning routine of that Janelle Booker talked about, and that thing just took off.
Yeah, lots of people related to that, and especially on TikTok, where I guess lots of ADHDers peruse.
Like TikTok.
Yes.
And credit to them, they watched. That was the longest reel I've ever made. It was over 2 minutes, and I saw the percentage of people who watched the end, and it was
Quite high.
It was a lot. So,
Yeah.
So credit to everybody. Also, I wanted to say thank you to. We've got 25-star reviews on Spotify now. So thank you.
Do we?
Yeah, that's quite a lot.
That is a lot.
Thank you to those people who have given us 5-star
Yeah, thank you. That's
review.
amazing.
If you have not done it and you would like to help the show out, that's a really simple way for you to do that is just give us a 5-star rating on Spotify, or if you listen on Apple, I think you can review the show on Apple. And if you happen to watch on YouTube, hit the like button, leave a comment. That always helps as well.
Or sharing. I think we got one of the most shared shows, didn't we, on the Spotify wrap-up?
Yeah, I still don't know. So Spotify, you know how you have your Spotify, is it wrapped? It's not unwrapped, it's wrapped. And you have that for people, then it turns out they also do it for podcasts. And I got an email with our Spotify wrapped for this show. And there was a couple of cool things in there. It was like one of the most shared shows. I was like, wow, didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
And,
so please keep sharing.
And the percentage of people who watch on video was apparently really high as well. So that was pretty cool. Made me validated for the effort that I put into
Your 3-camera setup.
my 3-camera setup.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to say?
No. Just
Okay. Well, I guess because it's the end of the year, we should say a big thank you to everyone who's listened.
and supported us.
Supported
and
us throughout the
given
year.
us beautiful feedback, comments. Like those things actually really mean a lot to us because we don't do this to an audience and we don't really get a lot of,
Yes.
knowing how it lands. So when people do actually give us feedback, it's nice to know that, things we're talking about and guests we're having on resonate. So thank you for that. We do appreciate that.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.